Hey everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and is also finally recovering from a terrible illness, actually. I'm your host, Jonathan Higgs. That's right, over the holidays, over Christmas holiday, I got like a chest cold thing here, and it really wiped me out. In fact, there'll probably be some more edits in this video than I'm used to. I'm still working on getting rid of this cough. It's kind of been a bear to get rid of. But anyway, I'll keep it short here in the front end so we can dive into the questions. Don't want to lose my voice in the meantime. But before we get into that, just remember, I do have a web store. I do got some patches. We got the new brown corgis and logos, and I got like Shruggernauts and these guys and a bunch of stuff like camper patches for these sniper guys and all kinds of stuff in there. It's free shipping worldwide. So what you see, the price there gets you no matter where you live in the world, it'll get you there for free shipping. So yeah, that's it. Oh, before we get into the questions, if it's your first time here or you guys don't know how this works, put your question in the comment section below and vote up your favorites, and I will do my best to get them on the next show. I can only fit so many in there. All right, so that's out of the way. It's time to dive on into what you're really here for. That's your questions in the Tippmann mail call. Chloe Harris writes, kind of stupid for HPA users to have restrictions when I can bring my DSG to the field and have the same restrictions as a combat machine. So this is in response from last week. If you guys are 2 weeks ago, actually, because I had last week off, talking about the HPA ban at Hollywood Sports Park, which is a real ban, by the way. It's been kind of confirmed. So that is a real deal with the high pressure air. So Polar Stars, Vulcan V12s, Wolverine systems, you name it, all those are going to have a pretty much full-on ban with some minor like allowances in there for private games at Hollywood Sports Park, which is probably one of the best known SC Village, SC Viper, and HSP, which is they're all over Southern California, the fields, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go out of that. And if you guys don't know what DSG stands for, it stands for dual sector gear. And this was kind of the bad boy. It seems like there's always the evil gun in Airsoft. So we're talking right now about HPA users having the high rate of fire and all that. Before HPA, there was dual sector gear guns, meaning the sector gear, the gear that picks up the piston that spins, has teeth on one side and then also on the other instead of it just on one side. So normally it has teeth on one side, it picks up the piston, and then when it gets to that last tooth, the piston goes forward and shoots. With every rotation, you get one shot. Well, the dual sector gear, you get teeth here and then teeth at the bottom. So every rotation, you get a shot, and then the bottom teeth come around and another shot. So you get twice the rate of fire on the same exact build. Essentially, there's more you have to do to it. But it allows a high rate of fire, that quick trigger response, everything you get out of a Polar Star, and you can do it with a regular AEG. And that's a really good point that Chloe brought up here. And before that, it was like, I think a system of PTWs were like the bad boys in, or just even high rate of fire builds, like using high speed gears. So there's always some evil gun in Airsoft that's going to be causing the problem. But again, you guys jumped in big on that. If you guys didn't watch that episode, I'll have a link over here in the corner so you guys can click it and watch last week's or the last episode talking about the ban, and you really chimed in on the reason behind it. I saw the videos, the links to where it kind of came from, and then of course all your opinions. Loved it a bunch. Maccabee Luke 2236 writes, hey Jonathan, I know you keep an extra mag in your beard, but do you ever keep an extra gun? And if so, what's the biggest you've ever carried? When I go to a game or even like a local field, I will bring multiple AEGs because I have them. I'm fortunate enough to have multiple guns. Typically it's my personal ones, so they're ones I've bought and built myself. Sometimes if I'm testing out a gun for a review and I feel like it's worthy to go out on the field, I'll grab it and bring it with me. But yes, I always bring more than one gun. But I think here you're talking about bringing more than one on the field. Yes, in certain occasions. If I go to a big Milsim event, I will bring my primary gun on the field. I'll always have a pistol, always have a sidearm. That is like, when I go, I've had my main gun go down, and at least I can be effective, at least I can get that pistol out and go to work and not be totally useless for my squad when it comes down to it, especially if it's like a big game with CQB. Definitely still effective there. I always carry enough pistol mags. So I don't just bring a pistol and one mag, I usually have at least 2 more spares on me, sometimes even more, so I can be combat effective with that pistol as well. There have been many times I brought 2 AEGs on the field, typically if I'm running a designated marksman role where there's a restriction for engagement, meaning you can't shoot a target if they get within 50 feet or 100 feet of you, which is actually kind of close-ish, especially the 50-foot engagement. I will bring an extra gun, an AEG, usually something very small like an MP5K, real shorty, MP7, something like that, to have as a secondary gun that can also work as my primary if we switch to indoors or an area where I'm not able to get those shots. Like the enemies get really close, I can just kind of drop the big guy and grab the small one, and I still am very effective at what I do. The largest one I've ever carried is probably a second full-size M4, really. So having like 2 large M4 type guns on me is pretty much it. Creepy Airsoft writes, if you could play Airsoft anywhere in the world, where would you play? It doesn't have to be an Airsoft park. I would play on Tom Sawyer's Island at Disneyland. Tom Sawyer's Island would be kind of cool. I never thought about that. For me, I don't know why I always think of this. I travel a bunch. I'm always in airports really late. A lot of times they're really empty. I can imagine a super cool Airsoft game in an old airport or an airport like that. I just think there's something super cool about those long hallways and like all the columns and the pillars and all the seats and then like the lounges, and I think that would be kind of a neat game. I think snipers, I think everybody would have a blast doing that. It kind of, pulls me back to the Call of Duty, really is what it is. I think that was kind of got my mind going on that. Obviously, you could never do that. I mean, the restrictions and all that would be just insane. But yeah, I think that would be my thing. Like, I think it's why it's the fact that it probably could never happen, because at least in the United States, with all the restrictions in airports and security, or anywhere in the world, really, for that matter, you'd never be able to pull that off. But I think that would be like my ultimate place. I think number 2 would be like a theme park. I'm kind of like with you in Tom Sawyer's Island. I think like an old, decrepit theme park. But to be really honest, if we weren't going to say like, I'm going to pick a city, I would say Chernobyl. The area of Chernobyl around there. I think that would be like my coolest, the old abandoned, just gone city that's been there decaying, radiated, and all that forever. So I forget the name of the town that's right there next to Chernobyl. The one you always see in the photos. Anyway, that would be my 2. I'm going to give you 2 on this one. And I'm curious, this is a good question for everybody. What would your favorites be? Where would you play if you could play anywhere with no restrictions at all? What would you pick for your favorite Airsoft place to play? I'm curious. I'll be joining you guys in the conversation below down in the comment section. 500 Airsoft writes, when charging LiPo batteries, is it required to use a LiPo safe bag? Can you safely charge a LiPo battery without a safety bag? Or are you assuming that you have a smart charger and balancer? So yes, smart charger and balancer are going to be your biggest important things. Those are very important to have. If you're charging a LiPo, don't use a standard wall charger, just a regular plug it in and let the clock go. You need one that will balance. LiPos have many cells in them, multiple cells, depending on the voltage. 1, 2, 3, 4 sometimes, but typically 2 or 3. 11.1 volts have 3 cells, 7.4 have the 2 cells inside, and those cells have to be charged equally at the same time. That's what a balancer does, or a smart charger for a LiPo. LiPo dedicated charger will do that. It'll make sure both of those cells go up at the same time. One doesn't get too full over the other one, because then it cuts off and you got one cell that's half and you can have problems, or one gets overcharged. So assuming you have that, you're fine. Personally, I have never used a LiPo bag, but I do take my LiPos like out in the garage, on the concrete floor, and charge them there, or someplace away from carpet. You never know, and if my LiPos get puffy, I do dispose of them properly. I take them and have them recycled. So for me, that is, I'm always very careful about my LiPos. I've fortunately, knock on fake wood back here, I've not had a fire issue. However, if you're planning on charging them in your house, I would highly recommend a LiPo bag. They're designed, if it does catch fire, to contain that. When I do travel, my Mavic and all my LiPo batteries, I do have a LiPo bag. I keep those in my bag, because you have to carry on your LiPo batteries onto a plane. I do keep those in a LiPo bag because I'm always worried about people in the overhead bins just jamming stuff on top of my bags and then causing one of them burst open, and then I'm the reason there's like a small fire on a plane. It'd be terrible. So I do put them in the bag there, so just to be safe. That's something for me. But for charging them, believe it or not, I don't even use that bag for that. I only use it for travel. So anyway, that's just my thought. However, to play it safe, I would highly recommend getting a LiPo bag to do your charging. You put them in there, you plug them in, you put them in the bag, and then you hit the charge. Something does go wrong, the bag will contain the issue. Colonel Dingus writes, question on Airsoft close quarter combat etiquette. Let's say you're in behind cover in a wall and you see an enemy weapon barrel sticking out of the side of the wall. You know they're on the enemy team and they don't know you're right around the corner. Would it be appropriate to nudge their barrel out of the way without grabbing their gun by either pushing it with your hand or with your body as you turn the corner and engage? I haven't seen it happen, but I would like to know if it ever did. I've actually had to do this, and I'll be honest with you, I think it was probably against the rules. I think I probably broke the rules. Typically, touching another player or their gun is going to be not allowed at your airsoft field. That's just the hard and firm facts. But I'll tell you what I did and why I did it. It was for a safety reason. I came up to the same thing. I came up to a corner. I'm on this corner. The enemy's on this corner. I'm moving up, and he's right around that bend. So I'm like, he's right there. And I can see his barrel sticking out of the corner. So when I see this barrel coming out, I'm like, The problem is he had one of those super sharp flash hiders, the ones that look like a meat grinder with those really, really, really razor sharp points on them. Yeah, it was one of those. And I'm like, man, if I pop around this corner, this guy freaks out, stabs me, it's gonna hurt, I mean, probably even bleed. So for safety, I scooped it up with my hand, came around and did a kill with the pistol. There was no minimum engagement, so I was able to shoot him up close at this event. It was actually a big Milsim event. Single shot, boom, done. Of course, then behind him were like 9 other dudes, and I got destroyed. I think I got like 2 before the rest of the squad just destroyed me. They were getting ready to come around the corner, and I was like the last man standing. So I knew this was going to end badly for me. I just didn't want to get stabbed in the chest by a gun or have a whole squad of dudes come in and hose me down. So I was going to take them out fighting within the rules. But I did grab the gun. I did push it up because I did not want to get stabbed. That was it. I think the better thing to do in that case is, because you shouldn't really touch another player, I mean, read your field's rules. If they're on there, you can bump it. Fine. I maybe use the end of your barrel, a little tap with the barrel, and then come around. That could be a good way. That way you're not using your hands kind of barrel to barrel. Probably a better way. You're not putting your hands on another player or another player's item. Is you can always swing a little wide and then clear the corner. So kind of step off the wall if you can, come a little wide, get some distance between you and them as you pie that corner, which is what you want anyway. You want some distance because you're going to need to be able to have your barrel up and start pieing that corner to work around. So you're going to want that extra distance anyway. So that's just my thought, how I would do it personally. But where I was, it was a really tight quarter. I couldn't move. Because I was in a narrow hallway. I was kind of stuck. My back was against a locked door. It was just a bad position I was in. So I had no other choice in my spot. But yeah, that's kind of my thought, is just kind of swing wide if you can, or maybe tap it with the barrel and then come around and get your safety kill or whatever it might be. All right, that's it for questions this week, which means it is time for the Code Red Headset's video recommendation of the week. And this one comes from the Illinois Airsofter. He has been mighty persistent, and I wanted to reward his persistence. I watched his videos. This is an up-and-coming channel. I would say definitely one, and I'm going to be very honest with you. I think it's good. I think it could still use a little polish. I'm going to be very candid with you here, Mr. Illinois Airsofter. You got a lot of fan following, a lot of thumbs up for the past 2 weeks in a row. I think it is a very solid video, and there's a lot of good gameplay. You flanked up very well. In fact, you guys want to get to the epic flank part. Did a really good job. Just like, I love it when you can get around and behind the enemies and nobody has a clue. It's so great. Around the 7-minute and 30-second mark of the videos where you're going to be moving to that. But there's still some good gameplay in the front, including the paintball part. You get shot at by paintballers. I hate that. That's the worst when you're doing a split field, and oh, it's just so bad. But anyway, fantastic. Definitely one. Very low sub count. I think sub 200 subs, below 200 subs at this point. But definitely a channel, I think, the gameplay, game style, and all that, this is going to be one to watch. Like all the rest of them out there, definitely one that's going to grow and grow quickly. Keep up the awesome work. Keep up playing and keep cranking out the YouTube videos. I love the fact you have multiple cameras. You got the zoom. You got everything down pat. Awesome job on that. So anyway, guys, if you guys like what you see, go over there, click the sub button, let them know I sent you. And of course, like always, I'll have a link in the description below so you guys can click it and go over and watch the video and the channel and check it out. All right, guys, that's it for this week. Thank you as always for being here, hanging out, and being so cool in the comment section and helping each other out. You know I can't answer every question, but you do such a great job. That's a community down there helping each other out. Also, don't forget, got the patches in the store up for sale. Everything's under $10 over there, really, pretty much. So under $10 US, shipped anywhere worldwide. So it's not gonna be like a wallet breaking, and that's all free shipping. So international, wherever you guys are. So until next week, go out, play some Airsoft, have some fun. But no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.